Hello everyone and welcome to Kexy. Today we're gonna be building a Tinder clone. I'm gonna try to do this in under an hour as an experiment to see if we can get a fully production ready application for both iOS and Android in under an hour, which is about as fast as you'd normally be able to set up your development environment when only using or when programming the traditional way. We'll be using Kexy, of course, and as a backend we'll be using Supabase for authentication and database. So we'll be having incorporating a few models with the login and logout, basically the whole shebang. So I've prepared a prompt here. I want to build a Tinder clone for iOS and Android. Let's focus on the swiping interaction for now. We have to use gesture handler, although without reanimated, because reanimated is a package that doesn't work with Expo Snack. The swiping left and right is very important to get right, as that is the main app interaction. Focus on avoiding unnecessary re-renders when swiping. Keep the app design very compact and ultra minimalistic. The main foreground color should be black to differentiate from Tinder. So let's do this. And we're gonna call this Tinder. Here, I will be scanning a QR code here that will pop up in about 10 seconds. That allows me to run this application on my physical device, and as you can see my physical device, I will include that in post-production. So you should probably see my device in a few seconds as soon as the AI is done with its output. Here we go. So I'm scanning the QR code, and let's see that it's set to SDK 54 first of all, because I have the latest version of iOS. So here we can see that we have actually a Tinder clone that is called Swipe, and the swiping interaction seems okay. What isn't working currently is the when you press the like or dislike, nothing happens. So that'll be our first feedback. Pressing the appropriate, and as this interface is dark, we're gonna turn on dark mode here. Nice. Alright, let's see what they've done. Yep, that works. Pretty cool actually. Not too bad. So what we need now is, of course, the overlay or the indicator that you have matched with the person. So if the person has liked you and you are liking them, that should create a match. Now we need to create the event that I've been user. There should be a update overlay and a button that links to chat that person. Let's see. And after this we'll jump straight into authentication, because everything from here on and forward sort of depends on there being actual users live in the application, both when it comes to profiles, when it comes to chat, and when it comes to swiping, of course. Alright, let's see. Oh, that's really nice actually. Keep swiping, send message. No more profiles. Let's just... I thought that interaction was really nice, so we're gonna keep it at that, and let's jump straight into authentication. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go to supabase.com, and if you haven't created an account, it's super easy. You just create an account and create a project, and then create a workspace or whatever they call it, and then hit create new project, and we're gonna call this project Tinder clone, and create a new database password. There we go. And there are two things now that we need in order to be able to set up authentication. We need the API keys. We need the public anon key, And we're gonna go to our environment variables manager. We're gonna hit Supabase, and we have the anon key here that I'm gonna paste, and we need the project URL. There we go. Save variables, and I'm now in Supabase authentication. Please create two authentication views, one for sign up and one for sign in. And these keys, they basically work like the anon key works as a password, and the API endpoint is basically the endpoint at which we authenticate ourselves against Supabase. So when our app sends a request to Supabase, it knocks on the door and it asks, hello, can I come in? And then Supabase will respond only if you have the correct password. And that password will then be included in our request to Supabase, but Supabase won't even see it. So when the correct password is given and it is authenticated against the password in Supabase, we will then be granted access. And that is essentially how we have created an entire login flow, an authentication flow, coming from us. Moving at this sort of velocity is just insane. Authentication would easily be a 1-2 day task before AI, and actually before Supabase. Supabase is super nice. Okay, so we have we have an error here, and let's see if, yep. So I'm gonna turn on Kexy Vision so that the AI can actually see my screen, because I have automatic debug turned on, auto fix errors, but for some reason it didn't auto fix the errors. So this indicates that Alex then can see my screen. Okay, remove the problematic polyfill import. Let's try and refresh. Nothing happens. Let's try and make sure I've added. Did I add the correct variables? Let's see. HTTPS supabase.co. Is that actually the correct? Supabase.co and Expo public save variables. Error persists. And again, we still have Kexy Vision turned on. Valid URL and vars aren't being read. Let me check that. Let me add a check that prevents the client from being created with empty values. Right. So here we have a authentication flow. So we're just gonna enter. We can do a strong password. Or let's just do and I don't know why the keyboard is acting crazy. Alright, check your email. And how are we gonna handle that? That's actually a good question. We need a callback action that opens the... Yep, but we are signed in. Pretty cool. So now we are actually authenticated. We are signed in. Now what we have to do is we need to set up our profile. Now what we need, instead of a sign out button in the top right corner, let's put this information needs to be saved to Supabase. So include the migration for the user and all the fields. Name, age, gender, bio. What else do we have? Maybe some interests. Profile images. Profile image. I suspect we need to delete this account that I just created because we need to create the additional user model. So here's the thing with Supabase authentication. Right now I'm authenticated in the application using the Supabase authentication object, and the Supabase authentication object only allows for things such as email and password basically. So we need another model, it's called, to be able to save things such as username, profile image, bio, gender, etc., which will then be my actual user object. So whenever I click on my profile, that is the user object that will present all the profile information to me. So when you first sign up, this user model number 2, let's call it, will be created in the background at the same time as you authenticate using Supabase Auth. What's our time? It's gonna be tight. So Kexy made a to-do here. Create Supabase migration SQL for profiles table. So here we have the migration, and so what we're going to do with this SQL file is we're gonna put this SQL code into the SQL editor in Supabase. Let's see here. The migration includes a trigger that auto creates a profile row when a user signs up. So we don't need to modify sign up screen. Let me verify and can be done. Here's what I built. Array, interest array, profile image, level security policies. Let's take this migration. Let's copy it. Let's go to SQL editor and hit run. Success. Now, as you can see here, we have a profile table here. It's empty because there is no profile. I created my user before this table actually existed. So what I have to do now is go to Authentication, and I have to delete this user, and I have to sign up again. Just do that and check your email. Confirm email. Let's see, not now. Let's see if we have a user and we have a profile. And as you can see, I haven't entered my name, age, gender, bio, interests, profile image yet. So all of those fields are null basically. So now in profile get to Supabase. For profile images, just use random stock images, and we can turn off Kexy vision. Let's see. And what we have to do then, this is my profile, but we have to be able to see the other person's profile as well when we want to decide if we want to swipe yes or no on that profile. So we'll ask Alex here, the lead developer, we'll ask Alex to seed the database, it's called. So when Alex seeds the database, or when you see the database, that means you are generating database entries. So Alex can see the database with, let's say, 100 users. And you seed the database with, let's say, 100 users. So I have something to... This is the tricky part though, because those 100 users won't have a actual authentication. Let's see if this works. I think it should work. It's a bit different when you are seeding users than seeding something else. Correct, auth user, yeah. Remove the foreign key constraint, not ideal. No, that's not ideal. Create separate discoverable profile table for swiping. Use Supabase Auth admin. Create fake users. Actually, the cleanest approach for a seed file would be to create the profiles without the foreign key constraint by using a separate approach. Or create a simpler seed that works we can use. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good solution. The foreign key constraint to auth users is dropped to seed profiles. Can exist without real accounts. Perfect. Your real sign-up users will still work normally. Now let's update the swipe screen to fetch profiles from Supabase instead of using hard-coded data. Terrific. So first we run the create profiles SQL. Create. Okay. But we already did that, so let's see. I don't know if it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. I already ran migration. Sign Should I run it again? No. It will error since the table already exists, of course. Okay. Do. Just run. Perfect. There we go. Now we have 100 users. Hypergrowth. Okay, let's see. Let's refresh the app. And here we have all the profile information. So, yep, that looks like me. Philip, age 35, male, programmer, now also a vibe programmer. I like music, I like movies, I like tech, I like food, I like art. Yeah, that's about it. So then my profile, but this picture makes it look like I love fitness. I don't. He looks like a nice guy. Profile saved. So here we have an environmental scientist. That looks like me. That would be a perfect match. I just matched with Amelia here. And let's see if we don't actually have, we need a matches table in the database as well to persist the matches when they're made. So that when a match is created, the match actually is saved into the database. Right, so we're gonna run this migration. A matches table created successfully. All right, and now we need to the matches are did you yes, oh, so they are Alex is way ahead of us. Okay, Aurora, would you be my match? Yes, I matched with Aurora. Fantastic. And we have a match. Yep, we have the user ID, that is me, and we have the matched user ID. So we have two user IDs. So what this is called a joint table. It's called a lot of other things, but I like to call them joint table because this is a table in the database that takes two records and relates them together. So now me and Aurora is related in the database because MySQL is a relational database. So now we are related in the database through this joint table. And so keep swiping. She looked about 12, so maybe not super appropriate. Oh, no one likes me. Nope. We need some age restriction here, I think. Abigail. Fantastic. Let's see if we have any more matches in the database. Perfect. So now when a match has been created, let's check my time. Okay. Now when a match has been created, I need to be able to see my matches and chat with my matches. So what we'll do now, here is what we'll do. In the top navbar, move my profile to the left navbar. In right side of the navbar, add a chat bubble indicating that's my conversation view. List the matches horizontally. List the matches horizontally with those I have not yet initiated a conversation with. So 50 full radius profile images horizontally for unchatted matches. Let's see, conversation screen. Okay, conversations, messages. I'm not sure I like the naming convention on that, but anyways. And let's see here. We need a conversations table as well. We don't just need the messages. But I'll ask Alex and see what his line of thinking is. Okay, conversations table tracks. Okay, so he did 2 tables in 1 migration. Great, Alex, you're just fantastic. Run the migration. Conversations and messages table created successfully. Perfect. Run the migration. Yep. Let's go to conversations. Wow. Wow. This is pretty insane. They say we haven't... Okay, the error is a specific database, but the current app is using... Set up a proper database schema with foreign key relationships at a super baseline configuration. Well, we already have that, so I think you are done on your context. Right. Let's see. Let's wrap this up, actually, with... We're gonna see here. Avery, give me a match. Nope. Elizabeth. Chloe, come on. Perfect, I have a match. But the matches aren't. Why? Excellent. Is there an error? Let's see. Never mind. However, the matches aren't showing up in the conversation. I can't see my matches, as I explained, to initiate a conversation. Right, okay. Makes sense. Riley. Let's see. Yep, here is my matches. Wonderful. And what we want to do now is be able to click that and initiate a conversation. Hello. And it's sending dupes. That doesn't really matter right now. But this just showcases the power of artificial intelligence and the future of development. In way under an hour, I've been able to basically create something that would be probably a week's work in just under an hour. Then of course we can drastically improve on this. There are a few bugs here and there that I've noticed already, and of course we want to implement this chat using WebSockets so that I actually can talk to the other user and they can talk to me and have the messages show up instantly on my screen without having to refresh the app or refresh the screen. And can I actually visit their profile? No, I can't. Let's actually implement that. One last thing. Let's implement their profile before swiping and actually profile from the chat. What also would be missing from this profile or from this app is that the users are currently not within proximity. So that would also be something we'd have to implement a Google Places API, for instance, to be able to measure the distance between 2 users. But we'll leave that out for a subsequent video if you guys are interested in seeing that. Right, perfect. So here I can see their profile. Marine biologist and diver. Fantastic. Let's see if I can see here. No, I can't see the profile from when I'm swiping. Now we have a conflict here where I didn't move conversation view. I need to fix the conversation screen. I don't know how. Let's see. Boom. No. There. And there we go, perfect. And we should get some elevator music here. Let's see. Yep, works perfectly. Although when I come back, if there's a new profile. Let's conclude this. We have created a Tinder clone where you can swipe left, right. Matches are created. Authentication is created with both sign in and sign up. You have your matches and you have your conversations and you can send messages. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.